Hey guys, my name is Francisco Hernandez, and today I want to talk about 3 mistakes that photographers make with off-camera flash. This is definitely going to be something aimed at photographers who are just starting out, so if you know what you're doing with lighting, then you'll know what I'm talking about in this video. And if you're just starting out, if you're just a beginner, then hopefully going over these mistakes will help you avoid those mistakes. I've definitely been there, done that. I made a lot of mistakes when I was just starting out, so hopefully going over these mistakes is going to help you out. And again, learn a little bit faster than I did when I was just starting out. The first mistake that I want to talk about is photographers that are just starting out with off-camera flash confusing overexposure with harsh lighting. The reason why this is a mistake is because you can have really nice soft light that is just too powerful, it's just too bright, causing an overexposure, but that light is still going to be nice and soft. Just because it's overexposed and too bright doesn't change the light quality from soft to harsh. The reason why I think photographers make this mistake a lot when they're just starting out is because they're needing to get more familiar with different types of terminology regarding not just photography, but off-camera flash as well. I know from my personal experience, whenever I would discover different types of terms for different techniques that I was learning with photography, it always felt like a eureka moment that I was finally figuring something out. So I think that lack in knowing the different types of terminology regarding off-camera flash in photography is what causes this mistake. I have on the screen right now an overexposed image that I intentionally tried to correct and edit for this video, and this is the final result that I ended up working with. You can see that before I did have an overexposed image, but that light quality was still nice and soft. So when I corrected the exposure, and I'm glad that I was able to do that with this image that wasn't too bright, I ended up with a nice final image. The light wasn't harsh lighting, it was just soft light that was too bright, so I was able to turn it down in post and make a nice image. If you're thinking right now that I just shouldn't have used post-production to fix that image, well, I intentionally used that image because that was like the initial image that I took with the light too bright, and then I reduced the exposure, and then I got better straight out of camera shots. The second mistake that I want to talk about in today's video is thinking that you need a lot of lights to get good quality images. I was definitely a victim of this mentality because when I was starting off, before I knew about lighting and what to do with them and how to place them, I got 4 freaking studio strobes thinking that if I just got 1, then my images were not going to look good. But if I got 4, if I got all these different lights, then I was definitely going to get awesome images in my portraits, in my photography. Back then, PolicyBuff had different bundles on their website, so I ended up just choosing one that was within my price range. And then I didn't just settle for those lights, those 3 light bundle, but I got an extra light, thinking again, more lights equals better quality. I had no idea why those bundles included this softbox, that beauty dish, this other softbox. I didn't know anything about lighting. So when I used these lights on location, I was just setting them up wherever and just aiming them at the subject and thinking that the images were going to automatically look good. And I was getting very dull, very even lighting, and I didn't like those results at all. And it took years for me to find out that I actually liked one light, and I stuck with that for years, and I still do like one light setups right now. I definitely recommend to just start with one light, and then once you know what you're doing and once you figure out exactly why you would need a second or third light, to then invest in that second or third light. Or you can even use the sunlight, which is a free secondary light source. I use it all the time when I shoot on location. Some of my favorite images of the last couple of years were taken with just one light, and I wish back then that I did that. I stuck with just that one light and knew and understood that one light, and then I would have realized much sooner that that's the type of lighting that I liked, and I would have gotten better much faster. So definitely keep it simple and start with one and then build up and add more as you learn about why you would need those lights. The third mistake that I want to talk about in today's video might be a little controversial, but it's thinking that you need expensive lighting to get good results, which I personally believe to not be true at all. Cheap lighting in the hands of the experienced is always going to be better than expensive lighting in the hands of the inexperienced. If you don't know what the heck you're doing, then you can have the most expensive equipment out there and shoot on auto, and you can have the most expensive lights out there and shoot them on TTL and still take really crappy results because you don't know your light placement, you don't know the quality of light that you're aiming for, you don't know what you're doing, so you're not going to get the results that you want. I've personally been online for quite a while now, I think over a decade now, and I've seen in different photography groups, photographers shooting with crazy expensive equipment and end up with really not so great results. And I actually have a folder on my computer with those images to remind myself that again, you know, you don't have to have expensive equipment to get good results. You can have basic equipment, basic lighting, cheap lighting, and get amazing results. And I have another folder on my computer showing that as well. I recently reviewed the Godox TT600 speedlight, which is their cheapest $60 speedlight, because I wanted to demonstrate that point that you don't need expensive lighting to get good results. And I personally think I did create good images. So if you guys want to check out that video, check out the link in the top right corner of the screen. I'm not here saying that expensive equipment isn't going to be better. Definitely not saying that. I'm just saying that your light is not going to suddenly just get up, modify itself, and get it exactly where you want it to be to get the shot that you envisioned. I'm saying you need to know what you're doing to get those good results that you have in your head. I wanted to include this last mistake as a little bit of a bonus mistake because I don't think a lot of photographers think like this, but I still wanted to include it because I personally believe this. And it's the mistake of thinking that your lights need to be at full power. Again, when I was just starting out with these strong studio strobes, I thought that the lights needed to be at full power. I don't remember exactly where I got that mentality from, but I thought, okay, these lights need to be at full power and need to be close to the subject. So whenever I would use these strong studio strobes on location, I was having very low ambient in my shots because again, I had these strong strobes just beaming onto the subject. So I would leave the lights at full power and then compensate for that bright exposure with my settings, which is going to be the opposite of what you should do. You should always adjust the settings to how you want the shot to look like, how the ambient to look, and then add your lighting and then adjust the power of that strobe. You do not have to have them at full power. You can always adjust the power of the strobe. I actually spoke to a photographer not too long ago who also believed that. He also was just starting off with off-camera flash and somehow had the idea that these lights needed to be at full power and he just needed to work with those lights at full power always. But again, if you guys have this mentality as well, don't think that. You can definitely adjust the power of the strobe and get a more natural looking result if that's what you're aiming for. These images on the screen right now are some of the images that I took with those strong studio strobes, and you can definitely see that the ambient is pretty low in these images. But again, you do not need to just leave these lights at full power. Definitely learn from my mistake and adjust the power of light if you want to do that. That's pretty much it for this video. I hope this video helped you guys out. And again, if you guys are interested in those deals going on 5daydeal.com, use my link in the description area below because you'll save a lot of money getting these different awesome courses and Photoshop actions and presets from amazing photographers. Don't forget to like this video if it helped you out and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I have a lot of awesome, helpful content coming soon. So for now, I'll just say take care and I'll see you guys in the next video.